4, 3. I'm very happy to be in great state of Zimbabwe. Thanks, Ernest, our guide today, Shanu people. Thanks goes to Michael Kellinger, organizing this trip, co-hosting this group with me. We've been listening about Zimbabwe in the last few years through the mainstream media, and always the bad, negative news about problems in the country. However, when you get here, you realize how beautiful this country is, how pleasant the people are. It's very hard to find such a nice people with so much hospitality like we can here in Zimbabwe. This place where we are standing right now, it's important for this country but also for the world. In 1980, the country has changed its name because of this archaeological site of the Great Zimbabwe ruins. Zimbabwe, House of Stones, or the court. In any case, 30 huge enclosures here in the southeastern part and southwestern part of the country. This is the biggest one, and it hasn't been explored much if you don't count exploration done at the end of the 19th century and mostly first half of the 20th century. Still many more questions to get their answers. This site is consisting of several interesting locations. One of them, the ancient hill, which has granite bedrock and some very interesting boulders, obviously out of place and moved, and many dry walls, granite squares, rectangulars and triangulars have been used. Since this is a place that, besides granite bedrock, which is one of the largest in the world, has a lot of diorite, and diorite on Mohs scale is for a half a point stronger than granite, means theoretically you can use it as a tool and shape those granite plates. However, those plates, that they are nicely done, usually 5 or 6 sides have been shaped. It means it has taken a lot of time to make them. Now, let's consider construction standpoint of view. How much time the builders would need to make such a huge complex. At the ancient hill, I counted, it's about 65,000 tons of shaped granite plates or tiles. Even if we agree with the ideas that using the high temperature and fire, the granite can break relatively regular shape, it still requires a lot to get those nice shapes so we can have those nice flat walls. Secondly, diorite, even if it was used as the tool, you still need to shape those tools, and we don't have stronger material than diorite. On the Mohs scale from 1 to 10, diorite is number 7, as you know. Iron is number 5. The truth is, yes, we do find traces of iron tools, traces of copper tools, but we don't really see the actual tools that they would use to shape something like this. Officially, this site was built in the period between 12th and 16th century, when, according to the mainstream science, it was used. However, this was not the view held by official archaeology. As a matter of fact, if you go back to the 19th century, then we will fully realize what the archaeology was. It's actually just the instrument of politics. During those times, especially British, hold the view that the black Africans were not capable of building such huge monuments. And based on that view, which is obviously cause of a lot of racism, they were saying, they were ordering, and they were threatening their employees, archaeologists, museum curators, and historians, not to tell that it was built by black people. They were saying, tell it was built by yellow people, Chinese, by brown people, Arabians, by white people, but never tell that it was built by black people. Unfortunately, this has been prevailing view for a longest time, even today. Some of the archaeologists claim that. But when we explore the ancient sites, when we try to find the age, and the age will tell us who's behind those monuments, we need to rely on documents that are not tinted by those countries who actually came here and colonized the area. The first explorer who came to these locations were Portuguese at the beginning of the 16th century. It's at the time, the end of the 15th and first half of 16th, and the most active nations were Portuguese and Spaniards. First Portuguese who came here in the first quarter of the 16th century, when they spoke to local people who were supposed to build them because they lived in this area, about the origin of the place, they were told, we do not know who built this. According to those Portuguese chronicles, they were not able to find the tools in those communities that they were able to shape all these tens of thousands of tiles. Secondly, what they heard was that since they were not capable of doing that, they claimed this was devil's work. Devils, because no human can do that. Identical situation is in Central America. The first Spaniards came to what we call today Mayan cities. At that time, 90% of them was abandoned. A few of them, they found some northern Mexican Indians. They spoke to them, who built this. They said they don't know when it was built. They said they don't know what was the reason they built it. They said they don't know. So the same answers. It's very important because these are the first-hand information. So we really do not know the builders. The ideas that it was built during the 12th to 16th century needs to have scientific argumentation. At this point, all we have is that it has been used for hundreds of years during the Middle Age. How do we know that? During the archaeological excavation, a lot of archaeological material has been retrieved, especially those that would prove very strong trading relation between not only African tribes, clans, communities, but also it was intercontinental trading relation, because we are finding stuff from Arabian countries, we are finding ceramics, we are finding iron stuff, we are finding copper stuff, we are finding stuff from Malaysia and southern India. But probably the most important findings were taking us much longer into the past. It seems that the cartouche belonging to Egyptian pharaohs, Thutmose III, was discovered here. Now, Thutmose III is the pharaoh of the 18th dynasty, which takes us back for 3,300 years. And the guy who confirmed the validity of this piece of evidence was none other than Petrie, who was the leading Egyptologist in the 19th century. So not only that we have very developed trading relationship with this space, with other parts of the world, Asia, Saudi Arabia, India, and so on, but it seems it goes much back further in time. Now, we also have proofs of ancient gold mines here. They're not just from the Middle Age. They go more than 2,000 years back in time. And even though today this country ranks number 15 in gold producers with 25 tons a year, it seems that going back we had not 1, 2, or 3 gold mines, but 600 of them in the ancient times, which is telling us that the production was probably 40 times bigger, 500 to 600 tons. So this was a major resource for the gold in the ancient times. And based on that, some of the explorers and amateurish archaeologists are claiming that actually the Queen of Sheba got her gold from here, taking it to the King Solomon. Of course, much more practical for her would be to get it from Sudan, which also had a big findings of gold. So now when we go back through history, seeing that this site is older than we think it is. This particular structure, this enclosure, is 250 meters in circumference. It is between 10 and 11 meters high, 4 to 6 meters thick. So when we multiply all these values with a specific weight of granite, we are getting the mass of 31,250 tons. So more than 30,000 tons of those granite plates were shaped. And this is just for the outer enclosure. When you take into consideration all the inner structures, for conical towers, it is about 70,000 tons of materials. It was a huge undertaking. And then when we think about the purpose, even though we had such a high walls, it was not to defend. So this was not really a fort, even though sometimes people call it a big fort or fortress. It is not a fort. For sure, it was not the place to keep the cows or the livestock. So the purpose has to be something so important. People were not building this because they had nothing else to do. They were using granite, and then we heard Michael Tellinger talking about the energy properties. If we want to apply the elements of energy machines, shapes, this is approximate circular shape. So we have a circle, very important shape because it focuses the energy. Secondly, the material, granite, very high content of quartz crystal. We have learned quartz crystal transforms the energy from one form to another through the piezoelectrical effect. We have electromagnetic fields, we transform it to ultrasound. We have sound or mechanical inputs, we are getting electricity. So this was the second one. Third one, as we know, water. We have to have running water. We have to have a water stream because it initiates the energy to move. We are getting the kinetic energy. We heard today stories from our elder that there are tunnels, several tunnels of them. And again, as we know, tunnels amplify the energy. So we do have some of those interesting elements. Do we have all of them? Hard to say, but we do have some of them. Conical shape also extremely important. However, when we were visiting the first site, this ancient hill, what really caught my attention is the original granite bedrock and the times when we did not have those drivers, when we did not have all these, granite walls, but the original shape. And during our brief meditation, I think that we were able to trace back our souls in the time and see that this place was probably even more important during those innocent virgin times, without the walls. I think it was very important because some of those blocks, even though they reach unbelievable masses, it seems that they have been moved and placed. For example, what is called the fish eagle, we can see two stones nicely fitting there. When you take the compass, you can see that the eagle actually is perfectly aligned north-south. North-south, always important, for the orientation and when it comes to the cardinal points. Also, several others are hanging on the top. It seems that somehow they've been moved. The interesting thing, several of us during the meditation, Deepa, Emilia, and myself, we had this information, like we had the giants first, bringing those stones, leaving them there, and then the people who came there, they were actually enjoying the site, wondering who built them. But also it seems that there was something in oral tradition it seems that we knew that it had to do something with other beings much bigger in stature than ourselves. So it seems that this site is really so important, and when it is said in promotional material that south from Saqqara, this is the most magnificent site, I would agree with that. Of course, they are saying besides the pyramid in Africa, this is the most monumental. Not exactly, because every other pyramid site in Egypt, like Saqqara, Meidum, Dahshur, Hawara, and the others, are much bigger when it comes to the mass. There we are talking millions of tons. Here, when we put everything together, it's most probably about 200,000 tons of granite, which is very, very impressive. So I'm glad that we are here today, and I hope that we're going to catch more interest from the whole world, and I would really use this opportunity to invite people to come to Zimbabwe, a beautiful country. Thank you very much.
Yeah.